The interesting thing about silver is that it's still in stage 1 of this bull market. Gold, on the other hand, is in stage 2. When gold went over $1,000 an ounce, it went into stage 2 because what it did is it brought increasing worldwide recognition to the fact that gold was rising, even if people didn't understand why gold was rising. It brought more attention, it brought more buying, etc. And that's typical of what happens in stage 2 of a bull market. Stage 1 is where you see apathy, but steady accumulation. And right now in silver, very few people are paying attention because it's still in stage 1. You know, sometime this year I've been talking about $1,800 to $2,000 on gold and $30 or so on silver. I think those numbers are still reasonable before the end of the year. We don't get into stage 2 for silver until it gets over $50 an ounce. It's going to take that kind of price to bring worldwide attention to what's happening in the silver market, and we'll probably see that within 2 years is my expectation. As we move above $21 an ounce, more people will be accumulating silver too, because as the economic and monetary conditions continue to deteriorate, more and more people are educating themselves to what's going on in the world's monetary system and what are the alternatives to protect their assets. So it's natural that over time, in the second stage of a bull market, more and more people will be buying gold. More and more people will ultimately be buying silver when silver goes into its second stage. So it's just a natural process, the way the bull markets move. Every month, just save some sound money. Save some gold, save some silver, depending on what your household budget allows. Continue to accumulate. Savings are always a good thing, but it's a particularly good thing when you're saving sound money. And when this is finally over, that will probably still be a few years down the road, you'll be quite happy with everything you've been able to accumulate during some very tough economic conditions.
Silver is very important because if you can manipulate the price of silver, you, by association, can manipulate the price of gold, and therefore you can manipulate the price of the dollar, and therefore you can manipulate the price of all currencies that trade against the dollar. Remember, since the Bretton Woods Agreement, essentially all currencies trade against the dollar. The dollar is the world's reserve currency. And so if you can manipulate silver, gold, dollar currencies, that's what JP Morgan does. They do it for the government, and they do it for themselves, and they make a lot of money, but they don't make it in an honest way or using any skill.
Now, there's been all sorts of claims of insider trading and front running by the people who execute the trades for the Federal Reserve in the market. By the way, who is that? Who actually executes the trades for the Federal Reserve in the markets?
I haven't heard of any allegations of front running.
Well, that's funny because you're the general counsel, so if anybody would know about it, you'd think you would know about it.
The Federal Reserve Bank of New York is responsible for affecting the transactions implementing monetary policy.
Okay, so then answer the question.
Federal Reserve Bank of New York.
That's your answer?
You wanted to know who implements.
You have people sitting in screens at the Federal Reserve Bank actually executing those trades. You don't delegate that to anyone else?
No, the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, of course, it's a process where there's several steps. Federal Reserve Bank of New York executes transactions through primary dealers.
Okay. Who are the primary dealers?
So the list of primary dealers is on our website.
Do you know any of them? Can you name a single one?
Sure. JPMC.
Go ahead, what?
JP Morgan Chase.
Okay, do you mind if we have a GAO audit to see whether there's been front running or insider trading by them? Do you mind? Is that okay with you?
I'm not sure I have any decision-making authority.
Well, you're the general counsel. I want to know if you're going to try to stop it.
GAO audits government agencies, as in you want an audit of a private entity. I think that's something that Congress would have to change the authority of the GAO to allow.
All right, now let's say, you're right, that's what we're doing right here, by the way.
And I think one thing that's pretty telling is, you know, you have a Federal Reserve Chairman, Bernanke, and they usually don't try to use very inflammatory language. But, you know, a week or two ago, he said that the debt is unsustainable.
So the current budget path is not sustainable, is it?
Given the numbers that the CBO and the OMB have projected, that's right.
And that, to me, is a particularly strong word, unsustainable. And it really should send us all a signal that we cannot just stick our head in the sand and just keep borrowing and borrowing and borrowing, because I think there will be a limit and there will be repercussions.